Okay, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Rest from Off the Cuff. Today we have a really fun review for you that's almost a bit of a dual review slash follow-up on this beautiful Direnzo DRZ02, which essentially, is a really awesome watch from the Direnzo brand. We recently reviewed their diver, which is coming out, but I thought it'd be nice to revisit this particular model because this is my personal option. The one that I reviewed previously was actually just a review loaner. That was a prototype. This is my personal one that I have. And what I've been on the hunt for since owning it is really a really fun bracelet option that really suits it, and I think lives up to the really awesome advanced design that you get when you pick up the DRZ02. And I gotta say, this Strapcode bandolier really does the job. I'm really impressed. As you can see just by looking at it, even not in motion, you can see the finishing is really quite nice. I love the design with the kind of the single link layout. And I think it really plays well off of this really fun Swiss-made timepiece. I believe this particular configuration, of course, just for the watch head, is sold out, but I think they still do have some options available. So go ahead and make sure to click into the description to see what they do have. I believe they still have the black dial variant available, and there's some DLC models. So definitely check those out. Because the one I originally reviewed was the green dial model on a brown strap. This is, again, this is the personal one that I have, which actually came also on a leather strap, but also had a Milanese mesh option, which was very nice. But something really, really special kind of happened when I paired it with the Strapcode bandolier. So with all that said, let's go ahead and take a closer look. All right, so some of you might be here just for the bracelet, some of you might be here just for the watch, and some of you might be here to see how they both pair so nicely together. So a little bit about Direnzo. They were founded in 2015. They're a Swiss-made brand, and basically they're a micro-brand startup with a very unique aesthetic akin to mid-century race cars and aircraft. This particular model is kind of their take on retro futuristic design, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. These were going for $6.99, but definitely check for current prices. 41 millimeter diameter, 48 millimeters lug to lug, with an 11 millimeter thickness or height. But as you can see, the profile is actually quite thin because of the beautiful contouring work that they've done here with that bevel that actually is 360 degrees all the way around. So really fantastic. And I just love the case shape and just this kind of retro futuristic look. And I think with this particular band, it definitely continues that vibe. It makes you think of kind of that mid-century, that idea of what people thought the future was going to look like. Going back to bracelet styles that you would have seen on Hamiltons and various kind of futuristic LED style watches from back in that day. So really nice to see that kind of come to light with pairing here. But a little bit more about the watch if you haven't already seen the initial preview. This has, of course, sapphire double domed with an inner AR coating, and you can see it remains quite legible even at very harsh angles. And also at those harsh angles, one thing you're probably noticing is that dial is really nicely contoured. It's a really cool and different sandwich dial, and it actually has a really interesting kind of concave shape to it. So really nice. You can see, of course, this thing is all about the color play and all about the little details. You're going to notice that when this ball right here crosses over the date here at the 6 o'clock, which is nicely color matched, it eclipses it perfectly, which is really beautiful. And then even these hands, as they come across to the minute marker cutouts, will actually perfectly align. So really gorgeous and well thought out. The movement inside is a Sellita SW200-1. Really nice there, of course. That case back is really even quite handsome. Like, this is even a great angle of this watch, which is great. The crown is not screw down because this is only 5 atmospheres or 50 meters of water resistance. But it doesn't really, it's not trying to be some super crazy sports watch. But I think it's a really fun kind of wild card watch that really fits in any collection. It's kind of just a watch that just oozes personality and fun. And it also has these crazy tricks like the dial, with kind of a fume hint to it, with this beautiful sun ray motif, also combined with the color play of the sandwich dial. It just does so many things and awesome tricks. And then you see, of course, those high polished accents there, whether it's the fine bevel on the actual bezel itself or the fine bevel that goes all the way around the side of the case profile, which is also really nice. So the hands are nicely matted. Again, this is really just such a great play on different colors and also different finishes to really make this thing pop where it wants to and also be a little bit more subdued where it wants to. Now the lug width is 22 millimeters, which brings us into this strap from Strapcode, which is their bandolier bracelet. It's a straight end link version of it. Strapcode was of course founded in 2004. They're out of Hong Kong and they specialize in high quality aftermarket strap options covering everything from NATOs and purlins to solid metal bracelets and everything in between, including fine leather straps and Milanese mesh. Basically the product that we're seeing here is one of their bandolier bracelet options, which basically is a straight end option, which also comes with this great solid milled V clasp. Now, the cost of this bracelet is actually just 99 bucks. You can even find them in stock on Amazon Prime, so you can get them, with really cheap delivery, basically included 2-day delivery if you're a Prime member. Definitely check the links below. This is full 316L stainless steel. It's brushed with polished sides, as you can see. And essentially it has a 22 down to 18 millimeter taper, which is gorgeous, down to a 20 millimeter clasp, fully milled, as you can see, even with a lot of micro adjusts on there, which is great. This design of this single link is just really, God, I love it. It's just really fun and different. And I just think that it flows super well. And I really enjoy a good aftermarket pairing that feels like it could almost be, like it was just meant to be. Like this could have came from the factory like this. And as you see the light kind of play going over that, let's go ahead and get this on wrist so you guys can see how this puppy wears. Okay, as you can see on my 7 1/4 inch wrist, even if I get some more arm in there, this thing wears really, really nicely, guys. Look how slim and slender that profile is. Of course, I'm keeping it a little bit farther away from the lens because as we get closer, there's going to be some lens distortion that's going to make this appear a lot bigger, as you can see, a little bit more in your face. But just looking at how flat this profile is, that's really insane. Look at how flat that bad boy lays. Absolutely gorgeous. And then you get some visual heft just melts away because of that really smart and well thought out designed case with that beautiful bevel that goes all the way around. And then you even have that pinpoint of glimmer coming off of that fine bevel also on that bezel. Then you can even get, and that's not even looking at the dial, which is definitely a showstopper, guys. Look at this thing. This is totally what they thought the future was going to be like in the past. Which I think it kind of is that idea of retro futuristic, right? It's kind of what people thought the future was going to be like. I'm sure people thought there was going to be flying cars at this point, and we weren't going to be worried about complications with flu-like symptoms, keeping everybody on house arrest. So, what the future, what 2020 held for us is probably quite different than what people imagined. Because come on, you think about Planet of the Apes or Back to the Future. The year 2020 was supposed to be quite far in the future. So I think it's really a lot of fun to kind of have a timepiece that harkens back to that kind of idea of being very forward thinking and really pushing design limits. And so when you think about, the cars you know, from that mid-century time frame from the 50s. Their ideas of what they thought was going to be futuristic was ended up being really gorgeous designs when they thought they were kind of paying homage to kind of futuristic designs and a design language that kind of hadn't really been spoken before as they were really innovating. So I think it's really cool to kind of tap into that aesthetic, of course, without being an homage watch. I mean, this watch here, of course, even when I pair it with this really cool bracelet, you know, it's not meant to try to look like anything else. Can it conjure some of those same feelings? Yeah, and I think that's kind of the whole point, right? That's why there are more watches that exist out there than the Rolex Submariner, because when you think about it, any kind of basic diver built after that has a more than a passing resemblance to it. So as you can see, this thing wears absolutely gorgeous. Loving the taper on this bandolier bracelet from Strapcode. Man, it's just a really handsome and really super comfortable piece. Doesn't, you know, hinder my range of motion at all. Of course, I do wear my watches a little bit looser and a little bit lower down the wrist, closer to the hand. But, you know, I'm basically left-handed, so this isn't the hand I get a ton. It's not like I'm sitting here writing. I write with my left hand, so I don't have to worry about this really limiting anything. But if you wanted to, you know, wear it a little bit further up, I guess I could give it a little shake, put it a little bit higher up to give you guys an idea what looks like a little bit higher off the wrist. I mean, this thing honestly looks like it could be something a superhero wears, but at the same time, it's just a lot of fun, and I think it's a great conversation piece and a starter that's just extremely bold and really fits the kind of wild card watch niche. So with all that said, let's actually go ahead and get this set up for some Lume shots and low light transition, and then we'll jump into some closing thoughts. All right, let's go ahead and hit the lights. As you can see, that Lume is really cool. You do have the green, you have the blue, and it just plays really well. It's actually interesting to look at even in the dark. But one thing I do like to do during these shots is actually show you guys some low light transition, because it does help a few things, right? It helps you understand kind of how this watch is going to render in less than optimal lighting. I'm going to scoot it down here just so you guys can get a better look at the bracelet as well as the case. And also when you're looking at it, it'll give you an idea of you know, the finishing too, because a lot of that does get washed out with these bright studio lights, which are really meant to kind of evoke direct sunlight, right? And kind of assimilate that. But when you look here, you can get some super harsh conditions on the lighting. Look at that brushing though. Look at the way the light plays over the brushing. Still super nice. And then look at the polishing on the bevels. Man, just completely blacked out almost. Really nice luster to that high polished bevel there, and the way the light just dances across this dial is something to really enjoy. And look at in that intermediate transitional light, look at how the sunburst dial gives you that darkness, but with those cool little spritzes and rays of bright in the blue. So you get so much contrast, so much color play. Man, this thing is a stunner. Really happy with this one, and I just love having it on my wrists. It's just an enjoyable timepiece to wear, to look at, and to even talk about, because it's just fun to kind of wear those micro brand watches nobody knows about and tell a little story that goes with it. As far as just the bracelet on its own, super enjoyable. I mean, this thing obviously, since it has straight end links, it's going to fit with other watches with straight end links as long as they're 22mm lug width. It's going to fit in really great. So I think this thing is going to go great with a tuna from Seiko, or, you know, anything basically that either has a straight lug or a hooded lug of some kind. It's going to look really great. I think it might look a little offset in a more traditional lug where there's going to be a little bit more of a cutout of the case. But here you can see it blends and meshes really, really nicely. And I just love the way that it looks together. I think it's a great pairing. And it's kind of brought the watch back to life for me. I mean, as much as I love this dial and this case, it was really tough for me to find a pairing that really suited kind of my everyday wear. And I don't wear a lot of earthy colors. I don't wear a lot of browns. I typically wear a lot of blues and grays and black. So for me, it was actually kind of tough for me to find situations where I would wear this watch, at least without this cool option. Of course, the mesh did help, but I just felt like the mesh, for me, it just it didn't do the rest of the watch justice. It's nothing against the mesh as far as the quality that Direnzo put out with it. It's more about just kind of how insanely intricate and cool this case is. I mean, look, you can see the bevels right there, right around the crown. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So I love these kind of pairings, and they're fun to share with you guys. So with all that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do it like, and if you haven't, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.